And welcome back, guys, to another episode of Geek Centurions. It's me, your boy Eli, and I'm back with good old Joe and Daniel. He's back.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, what's that? What's that?
What's
Nice.
up?
He's like, Joe's like, we're not doing this now. Not today. I had a long day.
No, not today.
Not today.
No, I don't
If we were
think the
talking
kids
about
today will
scary
understand
movie,
the
then we
reference
would
either
do
way.
it. I was like I said, we're talking about scary movie, then Joey will do it.
I mean, it's whatever.
It's whatever.
Yeah. But we're here to talk about something important.
Yeah,
To
we
you.
are talking about to me.
Yeah, specifically to you.
Specifically to me, if you can clearly tell what's on with my background and other stuff that probably is probably cropped out because of the webcam that we have, and a little here. I'll bring them out later. But anyways, yes. If you guys know, maybe you guys don't know, maybe you guys do know. I am a huge Mobile Suit Gundam fan, and just recently they have announced the director for the live action Gundam movie that is going to be hitting Netflix sometime in the future. I don't know who. The director is. I am going to butcher his name, so I'm not going to try it. But I will say that he. If you guys ever seen Kong Skull Island, that's the guy who's directing the movie. And so what made me realize is that hey, we can talk a little bit about this. You can see how this goes, how it's all gonna play out. Because one, and we've talked about this before. This is literally the first episode with Kelvin. We talked about how live action anime has not had a good rap.
No.
No, no.
Mm-hmm.
And while we didn't discuss it, I'm pretty sure we have mentioned that the live action Death Note, which is a Netflix original, was not that good.
Well, even yeah. It's I mean, I think
It was bad.
the only positive was Willem Dafoe as Ryuk.
Yeah, the Death Note demon.
Yeah, like that was a perfect casting right there.
Oh yes, it was.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, not to get too off topic, but I think the director of the live action Death Note did Godzilla vs Kong. I think he was the director for that.
Bullshit.
I will look this up. I will look this up just in case.
But I gotta look this up right now.
I think I've heard through the grapevine. I could be like wrong.
Yeah, look that up because that's like we need to confirm that.
Like maybe and this might help contribute a little bit to. Yeah, he is.
What?
Yeah,
and he wants to do a Thundercats.
Holy shit, he is.
Oh
yeah.
my god.
Yeah.
So does this redeem him?
A little bit, yes, but I feel like the main issues with the Death Note movie
still apply.
Are still maybe it wasn't necessarily the director, but it may have been the forces surrounding the adaptation. But anyways,
I mean, like just to end off on that note, I think in theory the Death Note movie could have worked, but it was just there was too much going on.
Yeah, but anyways, continue on.
Yeah. So got his name, Jordan Vaught Roberts, who I forgot to tell this. I don't know if I told this to Dan, but he's also the one who said he's going to do the Metal Gear Solid movie,
right?
With Oscar Isaac as Snake. So this guy really has some stuff on it. Main thing to talk about though is that this has been announced. We thought it would be another cool discussion about live action anime because let's face it, Hollywood will not stop.
No, I mean, listen, if there's a market for it, Hollywood will do its best to try to make some money off of that, right?
Yeah.
They're like, I think
and if they wasted money getting their rights to it, they would just find a way to force it out regardless of the quality.
Yeah, also true. Like, I mean, you gotta once you pay for those rights, man, you gotta figure out how to make that money back somehow. Especially with the property, with like a property that's that can make a lot of money, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like again, like back when we were discussing about Dragon Ball Evolution, like it's been a while. Popularity went downward a bit because of Naruto and the other shows, so they were kind of rushing trying to make it to the market before it's all gone.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. Is just that I feel like right now, and there's been a huge resurgence of anime. Like, there's people who are like talking about anime. I'm like, wait, you watch anime? Didn't you make fun of me for watching Naruto when I was like in middle school, Kevin? Looking straight. No, I'm just kidding. But no, but it's. I feel like since that's been on the rise, people are like, all right, let's get this anime thing back up going, that kind of stuff. Because this is not the first time Netflix has announced something like this. But to continue on, I think one thing I gotta talk about is this interesting news is that Jordan Vaught Roberts is he's a director of Kong Skull Island. This is like his fourth or fifth film, so he's still pretty new.
I mean, yeah, but it seems to be sort of a thing that's been happening a little bit in Hollywood, where we get directors that do like one or two indie films before a Hollywood studio sort of picks them up to like bring them in for like a big project. Because I think Gareth Edwards was in like a very similar situation where I think he only had like one or two movies that he did before being brought in to do the 2014 Godzilla film. And there's like other things like that. I think other instances of this sort of happening. So it's not that surprising that this is sort of like kind of like, okay, he did the director's done a good job on Kong Skull Island, right? Let's see if we can hand him this other sort of big blockbuster esque movie that has some weight and care and history behind it, and see if he can like help pull it off or whatever.
Yeah, and okay, so coming from a fan, I'm gonna say this: one, very excited to see this movie in the big screen. I love the idea of more people getting into Gundam, more people checking out. Not excited it's on Netflix. The live action anime trend has been not well at all. There's only like at least one, maybe three exceptions, but they've mostly been like not very good. When you can still hear live action anime and the first thing that pops into your mind is Dragon Ball Evolution, that tells you that it's still kind of unforgettable. And hearing John, I guess I feel like I'm gonna forget this man's name. I gotta keep pulling it up. Jordan Vaught Roberts being announced to do it gives me a little side of hope because like I feel like Kong Skull Island was probably one of the better movies from the MonsterVerse. A lot of people it's their number one. But also hearing that Brian K. Vaughan, who is a well-respected comic book writer in his domain, he's written stuff like Why the Last Man. He's currently writing Saga, which is this big sprawling space opera epic. So he can do it. I'm not denying that. But every time I hear news about it, I'm always hearing something like makes me go like, maybe this could be it. Maybe just maybe, and then I hear stuff like live action, and then there's freaking Netflix, and I'm like, okay, oh man, I don't know about this anymore. But, I am constantly optimistic, but that's my thoughts on the announcements. What are your guys' thoughts before I go to give it to you guys? Brian K. Vaughan and Jordan Roberts are apparently also executive producers, so they do have a little bit of control. Joey, I'll let you explain that.
Well, I mean, just the producing roles are usually generally sort of they sort of handle a lot of like not just creative but also just monetary, like handling a lot of the budget stuff involved. I mean, producers. I there's like two types of producers. The producers who essentially sort of help rein in a director in a sense. Like I think my popular example when it comes to this is Steven Spielberg. He produces a lot of shit, like a lot of stuff. Like he was the executive producer for the Transformers movies, and you can kind of see his like him like reining Michael Bay in for the first one, especially if you've seen the old trailers for the Transformers movies. Like the first like teaser trailer was that rover on Mars, and they see like this weird mysterious giant thing on Mars that attacks the rover, which is very sort of Spielberg like, like hiding the main thing until like the big reveal, like in Jaws and in Jurassic Park and stuff like that. But then he switches to the other type of producer when the sequels come in, where it's like, yeah, sure, I'll put my name on it. I'll make sure you don't go over budget, and just call me if you need anything, right? So those are like the two types of producers that I think sort of happen. Like they're like, okay, I'm fully invested. I'm helping like put in some creative ideas here and there, or it's like, here's some money, deal with it, just make it good.
Yeah.
Like I'll like come in every day, making sure you're not fucking it up or whatever. So I mean, the fact that the director and I guess the writer have producing credits is in not it's not like unheard of, because I think Zack Snyder and like various other directors have had like producing credits on their own movies. Uh, so I mean, I think it'll just at least help, I guess, help out in terms of like, okay, so these two probably will work out some sort of vision for their for this film, and they will have a better shot at like doing that instead of having like a third party producer just sort of wandering in the background.
Mm-hmm. Daniel, how do you feel about this big announcement?
Uh, I mean, I'm not as big as a fan like you are, but like I might see some potential in this if I'm being honest, because the director, let's see, going back, he's going to direct Metal Gear Solid, and if I remember correctly, I believe he said he was speaking with Hideo Kojima himself to make sure like he gets everything right about the Metal Gear movie, make sure he doesn't butcher it or anything else like that, because not only is he speaking to like a creator, he's also speaking to another movie buff, so he would probably get the best input from Kojima on how to make a Metal Gear movie. So like
Mm-hmm.
knowing him, he probably wants to follow the source material like as closely as he can, just as much as he wants to with Metal Gear, with the Metal Gear series, but for Gundam in this instance. The only thing I see it probably holding us back is again, being a Netflix exclusive, because we've seen Disney Plus. I mean, they have a lot of money. They can afford to make all these giant, high budget, shows and movies for its service. But with Netflix, it was just its own thing. It just had to like it didn't. It's not as big like DreamWorks or any other studio out there. So I don't imagine it being that big. You know, being as big or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. And I I probably could see I could probably see it working too, because I don't know, like we've seen like, I mean, we all seen Pacific Rim, right?
Yeah, I enjoyed the first
Yes,
one. It's one of my favorite movies.
yeah, we don't speak about the second one, but but yeah, like it's pretty much that. Just make sure it's in space, like put in like about war, giant robots fighting each other, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like the most important thing is making sure you get the story right and the characters right.
I mean, I like how you brought up the whole Metal Gear Solid, because like when he was first announced to be on the project, I looked up his Jordan Vogt Roberts interview with Collider, and in there, dude, he is gushing. Like he is gushing like no tomorrow over Metal
Mm-hmm.
Gear. Like he's showing so much respect to the source material and how he wants to like capture this sort of anime feel to it, and also like honor like the idea of the source material. And he was like, yeah, the Metal Gear series is a super complex story. Like
Oh hell yeah.
it is too much for a movie. So he's like, you got to find that like right balance in order to introduce it to people who love the series. He's talking about like if you can get people who love the series to love the movie, then you'll get the people who've never seen it to love it as well. And
Mm-hmm.
I completely agree with that. Like I could introduce you to something that I love and like explain and show you how much I love something like that, and then like you would get it. And it also helps that like I did some research on the guy. By research, I mean I just hit a follow on his Twitter. Dude, he's a big ass anime nerd. like he is nerdy as fuck, and I'm like he's one of us. So I could imagine him trying to make sure that this is done proper. So that's the good thing. Um, Now this also goes into my next question for this episode. Knowing that knowing Jordan Roberts' track record, and also Brian K. Vaughan as a writer, if you ever read any of his stories, do you feel much more like much? Do you feel more confident in this as a thing? And we'll talk about the Netflix thing as we go along.
I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed Kong Skull Island, and I mean, I think he has the potential of pulling this off. I haven't, seen any, I guess, read any of the writers, comics or and stuff. So I don't know. I guess I can't form an opinion on that. But at least hearing that he's very well praised in within the comic community, I probably would say it will be interesting, right? It gives me like confidence that like okay, we have creative people on here and not a bunch of I guess hacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we have people that certainly have a creative vision going on that are willing to put in the effort to create a good product.
Daniel.
Yeah, I'm not that familiar with the writer stuff. It's probably just gonna be Kong Skull Island, which I did enjoy a lot, and hopefully, hopefully he knows what Gundam is. It's not just a bunch of robots fighting each other in space. There's a deep and complex story within the franchise. In each series itself. So hopefully, like he understands, it's not like boom boom robot, beat him up. There's actually like some shit going on in the actual story.
Yeah, no, I agree. As being someone who actually knows both, because a while back I read one of Brian K. Vaughan's books, "Why the Last Man." This is an interesting story about um, basically disease kills all the men in on Earth and only leaving the women. Except there's only one man left. That's why it's called The Last Man. It's just like society. It's just like breaking down society, you know, without men, and it's basically that centered on that whole thing. There's a lot of character development, and I even read some of his like real short stories. Like I just can't remember the off the top of my head what was the name of it. But it was based on like it's a story about some lions that were in Baghdad that escaped, and like it's really short and like straightforward, but it really captures like character and tragedy and all that stuff. Because like spoilers for the book, I think it was called The Lions of Baghdad or something like that. The lions all die at the end. Like the mom, the dad,
Well,
the
damn.
one female lion, and the baby. They all get shot down by some U.S. Army troops. So he's gonna. That's what I'm saying. That's why I feel like I feel more confident because like you're right, Daniel. The story of Gundam can be complex. It's a war story. It's like a battle of independence or fighting an insurrection, and like it's told through both sides. You feel um, bad for some of the characters on both sides. You could have been like it's that usual trend thing about like that's like the usual trope that you see a line. It's kind of annoying. The whole in another life we could have been friends kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't want to
Yeah.
kill you, man. In another life, we could have been friends. This one actually, and most of the time in Gundam, they really do a good job of something like that. Where like, you know, these two guys, and sometimes they never really talk, but like, but it's like situation, circumstances have made them go against each other when in reality, you know, they're not that different.
Mm-hmm.
And Joey, you've seen Gundam.
Yeah, no, I've watched some Gundams.
Now, Daniel, I don't know how much Gundam you've seen, but Joey, the story of Amuro and Shaw, right?
Yeah,
Where they start off as enemies, and then later on they kind of like become good friends, associates. They both have the same kind of goal, and only for them to eventually turn on each other and have another big fight.
yeah. It's definitely it's one of the quintessential anime rivalries. It's up there with Naruto and Sasuke and other Vegeta and Goku. It's just that constant struggle against people who. And I think it's on a deeper level too, because obviously like these people like Amuro and Char obviously have tried to kill each other on multiple occasions because they're just they each have their own sort of like goals, and in an ideal world that they would be able to work together, but because of their various circumstances, it's sort of like they're just put on different sides of the conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, and like I feel like that's what's and that's feel like Brian K. Vaughan is who's able to write something like I feel like he can write that, especially he's really good with writing with characters. So that's like why that's why I'm saying I'm like excited for not only this cool visual director like Jordan Roberts who made Kong Skull Island, which again one of the best looking movies out of the MonsterVerse,
Mm-hmm.
and the writing of Brian K. Vaughan. I'm excited, but now that brings into question that it's gonna be on Netflix,
Yeah.
which we like we said earlier, live action Netflix. Whether now, I believe Netflix is a distributor of the film. Like it's still gonna be under Legendary, and they're still gonna be the ones giving the money, but it's still gonna come out on Netflix. So whatever's however that comes out, whether Netflix gives them money as well, or just only distributing on Netflix, how do you feel that's gonna affect the movie in general?
I don't know. Like, I think there was what was it? A Robert De Niro movie, The Irishman. I think it
Yeah.
was called. That was also wasn't that made by? I think it was made by another studio, but they distributed it on Netflix. I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think that movie got a lot of great reviews and stuff. So I mean, I don't know. I guess it, I feel like if it's one of those cases, right, where it's more so of Netflix is just the distributing platform rather than just the like another like I guess creative entity inputting into the movie or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think we should. It's more of a can Legendary do this, pull this off and stuff. You know. I mean, I guess to be fair, there's also the question of how much does the original creators of Gundam Sunrise, right?
Yeah.
So,
I think they said they are overseeing stuff.
yeah, like how much they're willing to like. Okay, like like right, we want you guys to get this right or whatever. Like how much input they have over whatever
Mm-hmm.
going on here. So I don't know. The Netflix angle is definitely, I guess, interesting because I think it's more of a like how are they gonna market this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like uh, I don't know, because sometimes Netflix has a tendency to just market things in odd ways, right?
How so?
Uh, I mean, not to like bring in like a weird side tangent, but I think there was a when it came to that film Cuties. I think the description,
Oh,
like the
yeah.
early description, was like
Oh boy.
a little too like weird, and like a lot of people got angry about the way it was being described. So they essentially had to change it. Granted, I don't know, like I'm not entirely sure that will necessarily apply to like how they handled the live action Gundam film, but yeah, I don't know.
But to be fair, that movie was gonna get hated no matter what.
I mean, the premise alone and the way it was done it was very divisive. I
Mhm.
will say that I haven't watched the movie because I don't want to be put on an FBI blacklist or anything, but yeah.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
Then I don't know, Daniel. What do you think? Is it being on Netflix going to be a hindrance?
Uh, it it just depends. Like he said, it depends if either is Netflix funding the film or are they distributing. And
Mm-hmm.
knowing Legendary, it most likely, but in this case, probably it is probably going to be distributed by Netflix. So the only money they're putting in there is just the exclusivity deal. That's about it. So they're still working everything on their own. So hopefully that's the case because Netflix, I mean, they can make good movies. It's just that whenever they create like big action films like that, their budget's not as big like the others.
Yeah, no, and heck, it's not like the first time they ever distributed a film. Remember, they distributed the Fullmetal Alchemist movie,
Yeah, they did do
That's
that. Yeah,
true.
and
Yeah, and
and
then that Eric Andre movie, Bad Trip, that was supposed to be in theaters, but the pandemic happened, so they paid to distribute it on their platform instead.
yeah, you're right. The and it's kind of tragic, really, that you know due to current events, yeah, that they couldn't really do the Eric Andre movie justice and just had to put it on Netflix. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love to see this in like um and like the big screen, but I feel like you cannot. I get it. I get it. It's my thing though is that you have to market the hell out of it because like let me ask you guys this, okay? This is where I'm going with. If it wasn't for me or you actively looking at Gundam, how often do you find you know people knowing Gundam?
Not that much. I think you're the only person I know personally that likes Gundam a lot. To talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, and we Gundam fans are like hermits, man. We're out there. You just got to find us, and it's kind of like, but that's what I'm saying because like Gundam is it's gonna be a hard sell, especially for the Western audience, because not many people know them, and if they do know them, they only know it for one iteration, one or maybe two iterations, which is like Gundam Wing or Seed, maybe
Yeah,
Iron
like the
Blood Warriors.
classic.
Yeah, like
Yeah, like
maybe
the
that.
classic Gundam that everyone knows. Yeah.
Yeah, and like even then, it's still just big giant robots go burr kind of thing. Like I think the closest time we ever seen a big impact is again. I mean, we all saw it. Ready Player One when the OG RX-78 came out.
Yeah, that was. I mean, it was
Yeah.
definitely like made into like I guess a highlight of the film. Essentially, like they definitely made it sort of like a big deal kind of moment
Mm-hmm.
in the film. So I mean,
But no one reacted to it.
it's funny because I feel like that might have been like a precursor to like Legendary getting the rights because Legendary made Ready Player One, right, with Warner Brothers.
Was it? I gotta double check that.
Like I'm like,
Yeah, it was with Warner Brothers.
yeah, it was Legendary and Warner Brothers made the movie. So I mean, I don't know. Like I always like learning that the Legendary got the rights to a Gundam to make a Gundam film. I always assumed, oh, it was. I'm guessing it's because they felt like either Sunrise or Legendary themselves were like, hey, a lot of people actually kind of like that moment. Why don't we just make a live action Gundam movie then? I mean, and I mean, it'd certainly be interesting, right?
They were not part of the production companies.
Oh, really?
No, it was just Warner Brothers. It was Warner Brothers, Amblin Partners, Amblin Entertainment, Village Roadshow Pictures, Deline Pictures, Farah Films and Management.
Okay. I mean, I guess Amblin, yeah, because it was Spielberg directing, and that's his production company. But no, either way, I feel like that might. I guess that just means that I think Sunrise might have been like, hey, people actually kind of like that moment. Why don't we just shop around the Gundam rights to actually get somebody to make a movie?
Yeah, and like I said, no one would like. It was a big moment for the Gundam fans, but I didn't see many people who were non-Gundam fans be like, "Yay, cool!" I'm like, "Oh."
Well, I mean, to be fair, how many fucking people were like, "Oh, look, it's the Iron Giant. I love that movie. Remember how much that movie? Remember how much the Iron Giant made at theaters? That's right."
Damn.
I'm just saying that movie.
You hurt me so.
He's not wrong though. They did do Iron Giant dirty.
They my God, yeah, I guess. I hate how the Iron Giant now is just for WB just to flex. Like, hey, look at all these cool IPs we have.
It's like, hey, 90s kids, remember this movie that we made and bombed, but you still like because it's like a cult classic thing? Here's the one and only chance it gets to shine, right? Yeah. We're not making anything with it. It's just here to pander to you. I mean, to be fair though, I think the only reason they had the Iron Giant in Ready Player One was because it was supposed to be Ultraman, right?
No, that was for the Gundam one.
Really?
Yeah.
I could have sworn it was either way. Like I think like the Iron Giant was there for something.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was there to like replace something or whatever because they didn't get the rights to something for it.
Probably Voltron or something like that.
Maybe, I don't know.
Now that would have been cool to see Voltron.
I mean, Voltron does have had a Western presence at least. I'm pretty sure there's probably some really old people that are like, "Oh yeah, I remember Voltron. That was a show."
Yep.
I mean, they had some new fans too, thanks to that Netflix show too.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah. I was gonna mention that as well.
Yeah. I mean, like the reason I say that the marketing is like Gundam isn't popular in the West. They've Sunrise, the companies over in Japan, Sunrise and Bandai have been trying their hardest to like market like over here in the States. And I don't know whether or not it's because a lot of anime fans are just not that into mecha anymore. But it's just like Gundam has never really resonated with a lot of people. They said for maybe like one or two shows. Now, if you go to maybe the East, they love it over there.
I mean, yeah, I guess I get what you mean by that. Like,
because remember when they promoted Char's counterattack for like the 20th anniversary of its release, and how many people showed up for that movie?
Well, I mean, doesn't that? I mean, yeah, like that kind of just happens with I think a lot of re-releases, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, I guess it is. I get what you mean because like I guess in theory, like there's only like because like there was like only one period of time where I guess the West was really into Gundam, and that was during like Gundam Wing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then like I guess they just I don't know, like either because I don't know, because I feel like like there's a lot of Gundam properties that are good, right? Like that, but just for whatever reason, it just I guess just doesn't appeal as well. Like I guess I don't know. It's interesting.
Like I'm not trying to sound bitter, but it's more like Daniel. Imagine if they made another Speed Racer movie and like they had to market it well because there's not that many people that still know about Speed Racer. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're not bitter about it, but you just know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like it's a very old anime, and then whenever people, even whenever you bring it up, you're either gonna get a reaction like, "What?" or "Oh yeah, that really old cheesy anime with the bad dubbing and lip syncing."
Yeah, but that's what made it so good.
That's what made it so good.
It's what made it so good.
But yeah, I think I think you are right. Like, but like definitely needs like a big marketing budget. And I think, I mean, even like, yeah, I think it could like maybe work that way because I mean, there's a lot of things that. Well, I think the only thing I can think of at the top of my head that was saved by marketing to a certain degree was funny enough Fire Emblem. Like, not to go on to another weird tangent, but I think Fire Emblem Awakening was supposed to be the last one if it didn't make enough sales. And it's often credited as saving the series because, it actually blew up like really big in the West because it was never that big in the West until Awakening came out. And I think part of the reason was Nintendo actually gave them a fucking marketing budget. Like, I remember, I think back in the day, like, there was actually fucking ads on YouTube, like doing the whole accolades thing, where like 9 out of 10 or whatever from IGN or some shit, and it's like, oh, what do you know? Like they actually decided to give this game a marketing budget.
Yeah, like I do remember it being one of the few video games that did have an advertising, throughout TV. I would remember like it's whenever I'm watching Adult Swim at night, I would see a commercial for Fire Emblem Awakening. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, honestly, if it can work for video games or stuff like that, then I feel like, then yeah, like I guess I'm assuming Netflix and Legendary are gonna work out like marketing deals and stuff. As long as they can like push that stuff and like get it in front of a lot of views, maybe like spend money on like a Super Bowl ad, it might help out.
I don't know why, but this is another tangent. But this correlates. You can look this up on YouTube. For those of you who know, yes, I'm a Gundam fan. I said 1,000 times over. But I also like to build the model kits. Back in like, I would say the early 2000s, they had this very cheesy, like really like what the fuck like ad for, because they're trying to sell the model kits in the US, and they would do it like, I built this Gundam right here, level 5. I'm a level 5 builder. I'm like, what? It's like that 90 like grunge kind of cutting like that cuts to a bunch of things. It's in a dark
like
room and
OD
like
Edge.
yeah, it's like that, and I'm just like, what is going on here?
That reminds me of like I guess some of the early commercials for like the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. Where
Yeah,
it was a bunch of fucking kids in like some like warehouse, and they're like trying to be all cool and stuff. It's like blue eyes, white dragon, you know?
it's like that,
Yeah.
and like they're posed so horribly, and like they're all leaning forward. I'm just like, stop. I showed it to some of my other Gundam fans, and they're like, "What is this?" I love it. It's so cringe. So no marketing. I feel like is gonna be needed. Netflix. I feel like it's. I'm not saying it's a bad place, but I feel like because it's on Netflix, you got to market the hell out of it. Then
I mean, yeah, I guess. And I guess to be fair, like, I mean, I guess if we've learned anything from a lot of movies, I guess coming out on streaming services due to, I guess, current events, it's not exactly a bad business model,
mm-hmm.
right? Because, like I said before, I think, I mean, Netflix. This isn't the first time, like at least Netflix has done something like this. I mean, I think The Irishman did like actually really good on Netflix because I think it was like both on Netflix and maybe they released it in theaters. I'm not sure, but it was
I could see them doing that for both because I would love to see that in the big screen.
yeah,
I know
yeah,
they do that sometimes. Like they'll show like a limited screening in theaters.
No, that would be dope.
yeah. But I think like I think streaming guys putting like these big sort of large movies on Netflix is definitely sort of at least from other studios and stuff. I think can work. It just needs to be
Mm-hmm.
properly done, I guess.
Yeah.
And also, I guess, good word of mouth and stuff.
Yeah, because I feel like if you're that's what Netflix is like. Not a lot of Netflix shows survive is word of mouth, social media and stuff.
I mean, then
Mhm.
again, you get shit like that Winx Club gritty dark remake that came out the first day and somehow it's now warranting a second season or whatever.
I have yet to see that. I want to see how bad it is.
I don't
Like,
like.
just go watch this guy on YouTube. His name is Billiam. He did a video
That's
on
the
it,
reason I'm
and
watching it. I saw that video. That's the reason I'm gonna watch it.
I don't. It's like
You can see me suffer. It's okay.
I mean I don't want to. That's too far. That's far too much suffering for you. I don't.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but
I've never seen the original show either.
yeah, but I think it's more of a maybe that's why the original Avatar creators stopped working with Netflix to make a live action.
I feel like at that point, because I know what you're talking about, because like
Yeah.
there's a lot of talks about the live action Avatar was supposed to be might have been a little dark and gritty, which is like kind of counterintuitive to what Avatar is, the Last Airbender. That you know, if I guess it does go down to like how if Netflix is a part of this, is it just distribution rights or are they having a hand in it? If they're having a hand in it, I'm gonna be a little worried. If it's just distribution, I'm okay because you're just selling me the stuff. I'm fine with that.
Right.
Oh man, speaking of which, so let's move on to like predictions, I guess. Not predictions, but like hopeful optimism and maybe some light skepticism. But let's start off with a little positive before we go to the negative. What's something that you guys would want to see from this live action anime, from the live action Gundam?
I mean, because I think the other thing that I've heard, at least we don't know like what the plot will be other than like I guess the plot synopsis so far is that it has something to do with
The titular Gundam.
yeah, like that the original Gundam timeline or whatever, the Universal Century stuff. So I mean, I guess if anything, I guess I'll say something that probably will work with whatever. I would like them to like actually go like full like all out like because like Pacific Rim style with the cockpits where because I mean Pacific Rim they made the whole freaking that whole like weird like stage thing for the cockpits of the Jaegers, right? And I kind of want something similar to that, but obviously because it's only like one person piloting the Gundam and stuff and the other mobile suits, it'll probably be on like a smaller scale.
They're usually sitting down.
Yeah, they're usually sitting down, but like I would like them to like be essentially like just have a camera, like not a camera, but like be able to film in like that sort of area. Because I mean that happens a lot in in the animes and stuff where you're in the cockpit and stuff.
Mm.
And I would like to at least have that and not just have it be like just a dude in a chair,
slightly swiggling left and right,
while everything else around him is a green screen. No, I want an actual like physical like stuff they're having to pull and do all that stuff and press some buttons and shit. I kind of want that.
Fair enough.
Like I mean, I think that'd be fucking cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
So without retaining the plot stuff, because I don't really like. I want more information on the plot first before I can say these are the plot expectations I want. Right?
Okay. Plot wise, I don't know what's going on. They keep insinuating that it's going to be taking place in the original timeline. I don't think I'm going to go into the whole lore of Gundam because I would be here for a good hour, and we're already like 40 minutes in. So it's either we're adapting the original series for film, which I guess you can just remake the trilogy films, I guess, or like it's set somewhere in between point A and point D of the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, and I'm with you. I need to know what this is about.
Yeah,
because you're either adapting it, because it's either three things: you're either adapting it, placing it somewhere in the timeline, or it's an entire original story.
Yeah, because I mean, if it is an entirely original story, then I mean,
you can kind of get away with it.
Yeah, you can just go balls to the walls. Like, I mean, there's been tons of different Gundams that are their own separate story, like that are like non-associated with the original.
Yeah, there's G Gundam. That's like a mix of Street Fighter and Dragon Ball Z, but with giant freaking robots.
Yeah, like you can just go all out.
And I can see Daniel's eyes going like, "What?"
Yeah, you just go all out with that stuff. It's an original story.
No, I'm serious, Daniel. It's like it's literally Street Fighter mixed with Dragon Ball Z with Gundam.
Go ahead. Like, which one was this one? Because I'm probably going to have to look at this one now.
It's G Gundam. It's the one with the Tequila Gundam.
I wanted to bring that up too. It's like, if there's one thing I want to see is that I don't want like all the Gundam suits to be all similar. I want it to be unique and different to their own, and I'd want to see the Mexican Gundam, the Tequila one.
Oh yeah, no, I know what you mean, and I think that's one of the good things because like John, I keep forgetting this man's name. If he ever watches this, I apologize. I don't mean to disrespect you by not remembering your name. Jordan Vaught Roberts. If you can look up his like the art he has for the Metal Gear movie, he wants to stay like traditional to the style, but I can totally see them like going crazy with the designs, but still adhere to like how a Gundam's supposed to look, or just have the same colors.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah, no. I mean, what I like to see is like, I'm for one, I want you to hold on to the idea that it's a war story of where you focus on two different aspects of the war, two viewpoints, and it's just the soldiers, and whether it be a child soldier or a grown up, show the brutal, just the harshness of what war could be. I don't know. Maybe you're planning like a franchise, like a trilogy. Maybe just make the first one kind of like lighthearted and fun, and then make the next few ones like, oh man, these are downers. Oh Jesus, I need a minute, kind of stuff. Now, I mean that's all I would have done. Like make the first one like A New Hope, light fun kind of stuff, and then you get to like the Empire Strikes Back where you're like, holy shit, that was fucked up. That kind of stuff, and that it's even funny because I've seen people. I remember seeing a comment on Twitter of people saying like, I don't want to be political, and I'm like, have you been watching Gundam? Gundam is nothing but political.
I mean, like the main antagonists of like the first series is literal space Nazis. I don't know what to tell you. Like they literally say, instead of doing like the Nazi salute, they go Zeon. Like it's one word away from the other thing. So
they were heavily inspired by World War II.
Yeah,
like it's all political, and like whether you want to go full political or just light political, it's fine. I feel like you get, as long as you get these characters who are dealing with the aspect of war, because that's what the original series was. Amuro Ray, our main character, was a kid in war. He had his PTSD moments. There were moments where he would just literally sit in his bed and be like, I just killed someone. Like, I know they're inside a robot and I don't have to think about it, but like, I just saw someone die. Someone just died in my arms. I'm 15. I shouldn't be dealing with this.
Very much so, yeah.
Why is no one talking to me? Captain Bright, why are you slapping me in the face 3 times already? I promise I'll get on the robot. Just stop slapping me.
Like, get in the fucking robot, or else he goes into the robot.
Oh yeah, no.
Sorry, gotta put a Evangelion reference there.
I mean, that's where it originated from. Like, it's like, you either get in the robot or I'll slap the shit out of you.
Yeah, except in Ava's case, it was like, get in the robot, Shinji, or I'll make this cute anime girl get in there, and she's obviously fucked up. It's like, God damn it, fine, I'll do it. Just love me, Dad. No.
It's always gonna be a fodder figure with these mech series.
Yeah,
I just starting to realize that a lot of very popular mech series always involve like father issues.
I mean, you gotta have something to do in the giant robot.
Mm-hmm. There's got to be some issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I hope to see. I don't know. I think Daniel, you're right. As long as they keep to the idea of the story, it's fine. Joey, again, I think we all agree. We just need to know what this is gonna be about. Because if it's like set in the universe, I think it's gonna be a little more critical from the fans. If it's adapting it, we'll still be critical, but really we won't be as mad. No, we'll still be mad. If it's its own little thing, its own universe, and if it's bad, we'll just like, you just don't acknowledge it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's just a bad Gundam show or the Gundam property. Okay, we can just put that in the corner and we'll just focus on all the other good stuff.
It'd be the Zilla of the gods of the Gundam movie.
It'd be the Godzilla 1998. Yeah.
You're like, it's there. We'll acknowledge it, but we're just not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just don't talk about it. So, what are the things that makes you guys worried about this kind of thing? Like something like you guys don't want to happen. What should these people avoid?
I think it was a point either you or Daniel made earlier where it shouldn't just be like just giant robots just fighting each other, right? Mm-hmm. Like there has to be like a human, like I guess it has to be like a human element of of the war stuff, and that's sort of like the mixture of the two. Because as much as Gundam does sort of do like cool robot fights and stuff like that, there's still the element of like war kind of sucks for everybody, right? So I think just trying to like get that right balance is something they should do, and not try to go full on like don't turn it into Transformers. Don't turn it into Michael Bay Transformers where everything's about the robots and there's no subtlety or nuance or anything like that. Where it's like, oh, I'm only here to watch like the 10-minute like the action sequences and that's it, right? I think that's the biggest thing. Don't turn this into Transformers.
I remember people jokingly say they should make Michael Bay direct it.
I'm not sure if this was I'm not entirely sure if this was like real or if it was a joke, but there were some people that like they should get Michael Bay to direct Eva Evangelion.
No. That was a joke, dude.
I hope to God it was a joke because that is just not the right combo.
Also, considering the subtext there is in Ava. No.
Michael Bay doesn't.
Oh yeah, no. There's some scenes that yeah,
I feel like
let's just leave it like that.
yeah, it because you know how like, I guess well no I'm not gonna say it. I was gonna make a joke about their suits or whatever that they get in.
Oh no, please don't.
I feel like Michael Bay would be like, "What are you talking about? I'm just filming this like how I normally film stuff."
Stop it, Michael.
You know. Anyways,
I mean, like, I feel like some people would be like, make it like Pacific Rim, but I feel like even Pacific Rim's characters are they were one note. But it
well,
made sense for
yeah, because
for
it was because that whole movie was sort of a it's kind of just a love letter to a lot of stuff that Guillermo del Toro liked as a kid, right?
mhm.
So
Yeah,
you know,
mechs and kaijus.
yeah, here like Gundam is definitely is the mech show that definitely sort of like let's talk about these things, let's talk about these issues, right? It's definitely
Yeah.
one of the first that does that stuff.
Yeah, it was. It's what made it so important back in like late '70s, early '80s, because like a lot of the mech animes that were at the time were these kid friendly, Power Ranger esque magical robots.
Mm-hmm.
It was always like this sort of fun, hey, we're just a bunch of kids piloting robots doing like little funny stuff. But like Gundam was like, no, if let's put these kids in war, and like let's actually talk about what war does to people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that's what made it like so um well renowned at the time, and that's why it's been like ironically spawning so many different like iterations that either still follow that theme or just have a lot of fun with the action scenes.
Mm.
Yeah. What about you, Dan? What's something that you feel like they should try to avoid?
Let's see. I don't know. I think we all said it too. Like, make sure it's not just the robots, fighting each other all the time. I mean, it's
Mm,
fun, but there's also a human aspect to it as well. And also, just try to avoid a whole big fight scene. Just for the 10 minutes. That's the biggest highlight of the film.
mm.
That
I mean,
and
if you're gonna,
again, make each suit like his its unique thing. Don't make it so generic where everyone like looks so similar. It's just a different color representing what their army they're from or whatever like that.
well, I mean, I kind of agree with what you're saying, but there's also like aspects of the grunt suits. Like at least make the
Hmm.
grunt suits like recognizable and not just like I'm gonna bring up Transformers again. Don't just make them all look like Megatron.
Yeah, like a lot of those Decepticons are gray and like are just gray, just different shades of gray, and that's it.
Hmm.
Like even
Hmm.
like the Autobots are at least slightly distinguishable. Like I can tell that's Optimus, I can tell that's Bumblebee, but when it came to like the Decepticons, it's like we're all just gray now.
Yep.
Like at least the first movie kind of avoided that and gave some of the Decepticons some colors, right? But the rest of them's like, nope, we're all gray. Everything's gray. You're
Hmm.
gray. I'm gray. And it's
Yeah. I like it.
like there's a reason why people remember the characters from Transformers and the toys because they were different colors. There's like 3 different variations of like jet like transforming Decepticons, and the only reason you can tell them apart because they look the fucking same is because they're different colors.
Yeah. Starscream was red, blue, and was it white? No, gray
Gray, yeah.
and yellow. He had yellow in there.
There's I think Thundercracker who's like blue and yellow,
Hmm.
and I forgot the other one. I think it's Skywarp or something. I don't know. But anyways,
Yeah.
you know,
But like to add to Daniel and also to add to y'all, I mean like the grunt suits are usually one color, but their designs are very recognizable.
yeah,
Like
Hmm.
they're like guys can Google this up. Type in Zaku Zaku, and that's like the definitive like grunt suit of like the Gundam universe, and it's like one of the more iconic designs because it's just so simple
yeah.
and easily distinguishable. And then you get the Goofs, which is one of my favorites, with the Gouf. It's like really awesome looking, and then you got and they're always blue, but they're really cool looking.
Yeah, like the blue means that they're
Mhm.
more powerful.
Yeah, you son of a bitch. But I mean, for me, it's like I feel like what they need to avoid is just like trying to be too much like the past, giant robot movies. Don't be too much like Pacific Rim. Don't be like Transformers, because that's what we want to avoid. Because like, how many times when people like see like a mech anime, they're like, "Oh, it's just Transformers, right?" No, you gotta show them this is not Transformers.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Michael Bay Transformers aren't even like regular Transformers. Because I mean, the show's Transformers is definitely like a different type of Transformers,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Because there's like,
I think you can set the blame to that to maybe Voltron, because they're each their own suits, and then later on they form together to form a giant robot.
yeah, and it's like the thing that distinguished like Gundam from these other animes at the time was that they were all these, like I said earlier, they're all kind of kid friendly. Gundam was the one, Joey said it, that really like put like asked questions and had answers and like really emphasized character. No one fucking remembers Shia LaBeouf's character.
he was just kind of, I guess he's like the everyman kind of thing. He's just very sort of neurotic, and I mean, they drop him for like the later movies probably because A, they didn't want to get him back, and B, they just like, whatever, no one cares.
Yeah, and how many people care about Matt Damon's character?
You mean
You mean
it's
Mark
not Matt
Wahlberg?
Damon? Yeah, Mark Wahlberg.
God damn it!
Yeah, that's racist.
I wouldn't say that. I would say that's stupidity.
No. You confuse two different white dudes.
We're not going there. And it's like,
Matt Damon.
they're like, but like, no one really cared about it. It was just like, giant robots doing whatever. Gundam, you can't do that. With Pacific Rim, there was a little bit of a political message in there, but it wasn't really as enforced as much as it was. Like, it's like pollution and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Because that's what caused the kaiju to come out. It was like our own abundance of pollution and global warming. And if you don't believe me, really just look that up.
I mean, like, I'm pretty sure Charlie Day's character literally just outright says that the pollution of the planet just accelerated the whole kaiju plan, because the whole kaiju, because they're created by aliens from another dimension that that are trying to like take over Earth and like get rid of all those species, because I think the kaiju blood's poisonous and stuff, and it's supposed to kill off things. And like friggin' Charlie Day's character is literally just like, our pollution like just supercharges it, right?
Mhm.
And like it allows them to just do it at a faster rate now.
Mhm.
Therefore, we're fucked.
Yeah, and it's like that's a cool message. I am totally down for that. And then it's kind of like forgotten by the second movie, and like later on bits of the first. But with Gundam, you can't really do that. Like you are in war. I feel like, and that's what I'm saying. Like they shouldn't avoid the topical things. As much as people will say they don't want to see anything topical about it, I'm like, no, Gundam is topical. Unless you're doing build fighters or whatever, where you just build the robots and then the little tiny, model kits, put them in the machine, let's fight. That's the only time that's allowed not to be as political or over the top. That's me. But no, actually, what we didn't discuss that I'm surprised we didn't talk about? Should they have an all Asian cast? You know how the whole whitewashing thing was a thing. Do you think we're gonna get that with this movie?
I know, but it's a bit interesting because from what from I understand from Gundam is that oftentimes like especially the original series, oftentimes it's very sort of like there's like not everyone's Asian. Like, because like the whole setting, at least from the original Gundam series, is that it's there's a unified Earth government, the Earth Federation or whatever, and people live in space colonies and stuff. And I mean, like, there's not a whole lot of like there's like Char is definitely like white. He has blonde hair and blue eyes. He's not Asian at all. His name isn't even like an Asian name, right? Like there's clearly characters that are like obviously Asian, and there's clearly characters that are, you know,
At least ambiguous.
ambiguous, and there's characters that are like just full on white, right?
Mm.
So I don't like, again, if it was a like, honestly, like, again, if it's adapting the original series, there might be some of that, but there's a fair amount of characters that obviously aren't, that are obviously like Asian, and there's other characters that are obviously like
Clearly not.
clearly not, right?
There's a character named Rio Jose.
Now, granted, to be fair, like Jose, yeah, I know that's Mexican, but first of all, like I'm just saying, like, it just
I've never heard a person of Latin descent have the first name Ryu.
and his last name be Jose.
Yeah.
Like, you're just like, what? but either way, right? I feel like it's one of those where it's like it's hard. Like, I don't like it, like there's probably gonna be some people that talk about it, but most people, especially I think Gundam fans, are gonna be just fine with it.
I mean, I would say like one of the main characters from one of the iterations of Gundam, who, despite going by a Japanese name, Setsuna F. Seiei, is actually Middle Eastern. He's Middle Eastern descent, and his real name is Soran Ibrahim. So like,
I mean, the Middle East is technically Asia, so.
well, yeah. If I want to go with that, Laurent Sheck, who, I mean, he's born on the moon, but like, he's clearly of a darker complexion.
Right. Yeah. But you know,
Also Bernie from the War in the Pocket. He is clearly white. I can go on. I can fight this all day.
I mean, I'm not
saying like, you know, but
I'm not arguing against.
Yeah, I'm not arguing against it either.
I'm like, all I'm saying is that it could go either way. Like,
yeah.
Like, I mean, I think it's one of those where it's like okay, I can kind of see why some people would be upset about this, but I think most Gundam fans would be like, okay, I understand. Yeah. Like, if they don't do it like a full Asian cast, where it's like, oh no, I mean, yeah.
I totally get why you made Amuro a chick, because really it doesn't. She's gonna go through this. It's gonna happen the same way. She's gonna go through the same stuff.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, like, I mean, listen, if you brought up the same question to me if we were talking about a JoJo Part 1 adaptation, I'd be like, the man's name is literally Jonathan Joestar, who lives in 1800s England. How the fuck are you gonna turn him Asian?
Dan, you got anything to say about that?
I mean, yeah, it just depends on the context. If they're making their own thing, I doubt they have to worry about that. But if they were following like a specific story from a series, then maybe. Again, it's like you said, some are made obvious, some are ambiguous. It just depends how it goes.
All right. And what about the JoJo statement?
I mean, it really shouldn't matter because again, like they're British, and I think the only time they had to worry about getting an Asian actor was for the one specific scene where Dio wants to see like this Chinese. I think the medicine guy or whatever, like who was selling him poison.
Yeah, that guy.
See, I thought it was going to lead to a bigger joke, but I was wrong. But either way, it's fine.
Listen, we don't have to worry about Asian representation once we get into Part 3, right? Because Jotaro is obviously Japanese. He's half, you know, white, half Japanese. You know,
fair enough.
We don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. Okay, so just to end this conversation, because I'll be honest, this is a very good one. This is a very good conversation. Let me ask this one last question to you guys, and then we'll be signing off. If this is done, do you guys think this could be the first? And I'm going to be knocking on wood when I ask this question. Do you think this is going to be the first good Hollywood anime adaptation? I'm knocking on wood right now.
I mean, technically, Edge of Tomorrow is a good one, right? Is that,
Yeah,
do we
Edge of
agree on
Tomorrow.
that, or is that technically?
I
I
mean,
guess to be fair, like the original, like All You Need Is Kill didn't have an anime adaptation,
Mm-hmm.
so it's more of a manga thing. This one is Gundam would be straight up like full anime to live action.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Because if we're talking about that, then I mean clearly Death Note, very good, very successful. I mean, like clearly, right? Like the best.
Damn, I can feel the eyes like stabbing you.
Yeah. No, obviously that was a joke. Um, to answer your question, I mean, potentially, I think yeah, because I think just from like if they can nail down a lot of the war themes and aspects, then I think yeah, this could potentially be like one of the few actually good anime adaptation live action
Mm.
adaptations, right? Like, because even like I don't know, I guess worst case scenario, people like it just because of the giant robot fights and that's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and which I mean, probably would be kind of like that kind of sucks territory for probably some hardcore Gundam fans, but but either way, I think yeah, I definitely think it has the potential to
Mm-hmm.
like be a really good adaptation.
Right. What about you, Daniel?
Let's see. Would it be the first good anime movie? No, because that title belongs to Speed Racer.
All right. Do you think it could beat Speed Racer?
It has there's a good chance it could be better than Speed Racer though. I will admit.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
And,
like,
and
why?
again, like
Yeah. No, no.
yeah,
Go
and
ahead. Go
like
ahead.
again, like there's also other films out there. Like we just brought up Edge of Tomorrow. There's also Alita Battle Angel that I heard was
Right.
pretty good as well.
Mm-hmm. I guess I would say, would it? Do you think it would be the most commercially successful one?
Ooh,
That's, I mean, yeah, it's difficult to say.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
like
I feel like in
when we
terms of, I don't know, it might be difficult to determine that just because it's coming to Netflix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, knock on wood again, just in case.
I mean, would you count
Because
Detective Pikachu though as one of those films? I mean, it's based off a video game, but it has its own anime series and all that kind of crazy stuff.
yeah,
Because I heard,
yeah, I mean, I heard it was solid.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't know. It's interesting, right? Like I can like I don't know. I think the main difference in terms of like saying that it's commercially successful is that obviously, like I mean, the big crux of this is that it's being released on Netflix, and the metrics of showing of what is a success on Netflix is usually just sort of like how many fucking people watch this shit,
Mm-hmm.
right? How many people tuned in and watched this stuff, right? Which I think probably because we're not gonna obviously it's not gonna get like box office sales or whatever
Mm-hmm.
like that. So in terms of like trying to gauge that as a success, potentially, right? Like if the Gundam movie was to be released on like a slow day on Netflix when there really isn't much that's premiere, but you have this giant like movie that's hopefully been marketed up the wazoo, then potentially, yeah. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't know. It's interesting.
What do you think, Daniel?
I mean, yeah, like there's definitely a chance it could be successful. Again, like uh, on Netflix, it's probably gonna help a bit because they love to advertise everything, even through YouTube, and I think it's shown a couple of ads on TV as well.
Mm-hmm.
So while it may not be in theaters, I still think it might have a chance to be a successful film on streaming
Mm-hmm.
sites, on Netflix.
Mm-hmm. I feel like there's a lot of cards, a lot of the cards that are on the table for the live action Gundam movie are kind of making it seem that this could work. You know, Kong Skull Island is probably one of the better of the MonsterVerse films. Maybe beating out, maybe losing to Godzilla versus Kong. You know, and like the writer being well regarded, and the fact that these two people in chart that are working on it seem very competent and at least know the source material and are at least fans of the medium. So like I said, Jordan Von Roberts is a huge fan of Metal Gear Solid. You can just literally look up the Collider interview, and you can see him gushing. And if he's able to gush over that for something like that, I can totally see him maybe doing a good job on the Metal Gear Solid movie. Same thing with the Gundam movie. If he is a fan of it, and wants to do it justice. Um, I feel like it has the card. Like there's the odds are stacked against it, but I feel like it's prepared enough to at least withstand a beating, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
I mean, when you think about it, either way, um, it's gonna win in the end either way. Because like I look at Death Note, we all knew it was bad, and then when people actually watch it, they exaggerated how bad it was, and everyone went on Netflix to watch it to see how bad it was, including myself to see, and it was pretty bad. So either way, if people hated it, they're gonna watch it to see how bad it was, and if they
Mm-hmm.
loved it, they're gonna it's gonna spread out fast, and they're gonna want to watch it and be surprised how good it is.
Yeah, no, there's a chance for it to come out on top. Um, and now, I mean, honestly, the question is it just gonna be a one time thing, or are they planning to do like a trilogy or spin-offs or whatever? Because like I mean, that's the real question, really.
Right.
Because like as like if I was doing it, I mean, I would make the first one, like I said, I would make it like a little bit like Star Wars. I don't mean like the the way Star Wars world is, but more like first one's kind of like really lighthearted and fun. Second one being a little more in the darker area, and then like having a competent ending to the
Right.
film, to the trilogy, and like maybe leaving it open to like more to come. That's what I would probably do. But we're just gonna wait and see. Because like Jesus Christ, we still don't know anything, and this movie was announced 2 years ago. With I think at least a year or 2 years ago, the writer was announced, and we just now got the director.
Well, I mean, to be fair, right? This past year has been, rife with various, I think, hurdles that might have impeded some of that pre-production. Just gonna point that out. I mean, granted, also to be fair, when they announced it, all we had was like a teaser image, right? And that was it.
Yeah, it's just literally a light going like in a curve with the Earth in the background and the sun coming out to make it look like a G. That's all we got.
Yeah. So, listen. Hopefully, with the announcement of a director, we might actually see some progress in the next couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
And I think that's a good place to end it too. It's just like the Gundam movie has a chance because, in my opinion, there's enough material for you. For one, you can adapt it, which is fine. But if you want to do your own little thing, there's enough like material and lore out there for you to borrow and to expand on, and inspire from, and to make it kind of like an MCU movie, like where like those movies, like Civil War isn't Civil War in the books, but it's still like one of the best movies the MCU came out with. Same thing with Infinity War. Infinity War is not the Infinity War of the books,
Mm-hmm.
but they took everything that worked about it, tweaked it, and made it a really good movie. So I think you can do that with Gundam. And yeah, but thanks guys for checking us out. Checking us out. Taking a chance to listen to basically what I didn't realize would be a really long episode. Well, not our longest, but a really good chunk, a good solid hour
Yeah.
of an episode where we talk about live action Gundam and why I am both excited and very I would say more cautiously optimistic. But no, thank you for checking us out. If you like what you hear, be sure to follow us on social media: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at the Geek Centurions. And if you go to our Instagram, where we're most likely active, you'll find a link tree to all the podcast insights that we are officially part of, like sorry, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, all that good stuff. We also have a YouTube account at the Geek Centurion, the Geek Centurions, where you can, for all you audio listeners out there, you can put a face to the voice and see how we are. And when you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we also have a Patreon, so you can support us in anything we do. There's a lot of stuff that we want to do, but we just need a little help from you guys. And yeah, I think that's about it. Thanks, Dan, for coming by, talk about Gundam. I know you're not that well versed in it, but thank you for your input, man. It's really, really good.
Yeah, glad to be here, man.
Yeah, enjoy you. You're solid as always.
I guess I do my best.
Yeah, you do your best. So yeah, it's been your boy Eli.
It's been me, Joe.
And it's me, Daniel.
And we are the Geek Centurions, and we are signing out for this episode. Hopefully, Gundam's gonna be okay, at least. It's hopefully. Anyways, guys,
Yeah, so let's pray to God it's good, and hopefully that Yakuza movie will be good too.
I did not know they're making a Yakuza movie.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I mean, what if it was funded by the actual Yakuza? That'd be kind of fucking weird, right?
Yeah.
That'd be funny, but
questionable, but funny.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, thanks for checking us out. Have a good one. See you guys later. We're the Geek Centurions, and we're signing out. Peace.